Hey guys, happy Friday. I am Daniel Norton. Welcome to my studio here in New York City. And today we're going to talk about finding clients. So this is probably a lot of 5-minute videos, or maybe a really long video, or maybe a lot of really long videos. But again, it's one of those things, I feel like I say this every Friday, but that I get asked about a lot. So how do we find clients? Where do you find clients? I'm doing this. I want to get clients. How do I find them? This is something I get asked all the time. I suppose this is the key, right? This is the key to being a commercial photographer is, how do you find clients? So I'm just going to kind of talk about this kind of in a more overview type way. And from this, let's build a conversation. So how do we find clients? One thing that I've said over and over again when people say that nobody wants to pay for photography, nobody wants to pay for their work, is that you're probably showing it to the wrong people. The people that like your stuff on social media, the people that tell you you're great all the time, your friends, whatever, they are very unlikely to be your clients. They're very unlikely to be people that will pay for the photography. What you need to do with any business is you need to find somebody who needs that service and put your work in front of them. So if you are, for instance, a photographer looking to do portraits, I've used this example before, I think, and I will do it again because I think it's a good one, and you know that in your small town there's a bunch of, let's say, after-school programs that are run by whatever small companies, like some kind of maybe a martial arts. I know that down the street here there's a karate studio where I always see the little kids. Well, not now, obviously, but I always see the kids coming and going. Right after school. There's dance studios. There's various troops of other social things that children are brought into. After school programs of doing various kinds of sports and stuff. So what we want to do, music programs, what we want to do is think to ourselves, well, those kind of people, right, parents basically, often want photos of their children doing those things that they're doing, right? So we can then deduce that perhaps they might want something like that. So we're not going to spend time seeking out each parent. That would be a waste, right? That would be very difficult to do. What we're going to do is we're going to go to the source, right? Here's this business that's already has a client base that might be somebody that would buy your services. Thus, you could go to them and say, hey, I see that you have these after-school programs for, teaching dance. Do you have a photographer that does like a class portrait? And if not, is that something you think your students would be interested in? If so, maybe we can work something out. This is how we're going to do it. And now I take this way because I think a lot of people that ask this question are more retail photographers. If you're more of a advertising photographer, then it's almost easier in a sense because what you want to do is approach advertising agencies and you can find them in any directories. You simply find out. So there's magazines, there's blogs, there's LinkedIn. You want to find out who's doing the thing. So if you're watching, let's say, television, and you see some ads for Ziploc bags, sandwich bags, and you see that they use some photos in that, and you're looking at it and you're like, you know what? I could make a better picture of a sandwich than what they've got there. I think I'm a really good sandwich photographer. I could take good sandwich pictures even with the Ziploc bag because I know my lighting and I could make it look really good. So I want to get that client, right? I want Ziploc sandwich bags as my client. So what I'm going to do is research, and it's easier now than it ever was, to find out who the advertising agency, who the art director, who these people are that basically are creating these ads. And once you know those people, it's just really a matter of reaching out to them. I find the simplest way to do it is I know this sounds like a little archaic, but less people are doing it because it costs something, is I do postcards. You send postcards and know that when you send postcards, they are going to probably look at it and throw it away. That's literally what the postcard's for. Don't be offended that, if you go by the street and you see your postcards all in the trash, because you don't expect them to hold onto this postcard that long. What you're hoping is that if they love the image and they flip it over and they see your name, they might remember it. So at some point when you reach out to them, you will be accepted to get in a meeting. So what we want to do is, again, this is a very summarized, but again, comment below what you guys want to talk about. I want to get this going in this conversation, but I just want to know what direction to lead it. If we're talking retail photography, that is selling directly to the public, then I think your best bet is to find a source of the group of people that you're already dealing with, right? If you want to photograph, okay, so I know this is going to run a little bit longer, but let's say you want to photograph potential like young models. Well, you would go to a modeling agency, right? There's a bunch of modeling agencies in town. You're going to go to them. They already have the models that need the pictures, right? So again, instead of seeking out individual people, you can seek out the source. This is the basis of all of this, right? You're going to seek out the source of the client if it's retail, and if it's advertising, you're going to find out who's producing the work already, and so that you can reach out to them. Now, if there's something more localized, like a restaurant that doesn't have any pictures, then you got to go right to the source. Just make sure that when you make your pitch, you really are everything that you say you are. And I'm sure you are. So go ahead and ring the bell, subscribe, do all that good stuff, and I'll see you next time.